Hi, business owner. I am going to start with a question that might make you uncomfortable, but stick with me because your answer will determine whether your business will hit seven figures or will stay stuck forever, whatever revenue you are at this point. So here's the question. Right now, in this moment, are you the CEO of your company or are you just an expensive employee who happens to own a business? Think about this. And I know this stings a little bit, right? But here's why this question matters and I want you to think about it. Over the past 30 years in business, I was in, corporate boardrooms, meetings, and I went from there to entrepreneurial ventures, right? So I've had a front row seat to watch thousands of small business owners that had 5, 10, 25, 50 employees. And I discovered something that it was kind of shocking that most people never see it from the inside of their business. So 95% of business owners are unknowingly positioning themselves in the three lowest paid positions in their own companies. And here's the kicker. They're working harder than anyone else. They're putting about 60 to 80 hours a week and wondering why their businesses plateau, they stay at six figures, and why how their competitors seem to really work effortlessly and be able to scale to 6 to 8 figures. So that's kind of like the question. But what happens to those successful business owners? What happened to that 5% of those who are really successful? Well, they understand something completely different. They have cracked what I call the six position business framework. And once you understand this, everything is gonna change. So today I'm gonna show you the six positions that exist in every business and why 95% of business owners choose the wrong ones. And that's the cause of why businesses don't last than more than 10 years or even less, depending on the size of your business. The five biggest challenges killing small business owners right now, why your expertise might actually be hurting your growth, the paradigm shift that turns you from the doer in your business to a true business owner, and how AI amplifies everything, but only if you are positioned correctly. So it'll amplify it, but it could amplify the wrong thing. So that's why this is important to listen. So if you got a team of 5 to 50, people, and you are ready to stop being the bottleneck in your own business, this episode will change everything for you. Okay? So let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this point. I recently learned about Amy, who runs a digital marketing agency and she has 23 employees. She's brilliant. She probably knows more about Facebook ads and anything around that in her city. But here's the problem. Amy was positioning herself as the expert in her business. Every client wanted to work with her personally. Every campaign had to go through her approvals. Every strategy session required her to be present. She was the smarter person in the room, and it was killing her business. When Amy finally recognized this pattern, she was exhausted. She was working 70 hours a week and her revenue was stuck at 800,000 a year. And that was for about 3 years. Then something was like not right. And do you think that that might sound familiar to you? So here's the breakthrough on the insight that I want you to get about this. Um, in about her expertise specifically. So she got to a point where her expertise was actually keeping her in a low value position in her business. She looked at her realization and I couldn't believe it. And let me explain how this really work and how this positioning could be a different way of looking at how you're working in your business. So there's a low value and there's a high value positions. So I'm gonna walk you through the 6 positions so then you can kind of like understand where you are sitting today. So there's 3 low value positions. The idea person. So there's that person who always comes up with new concepts but is terrible at executing that idea. That's a low value position. Then the second one is the expert, the specialist, which is the smartest person in the room. And in this case was Amy. Then there's a position which you are the doer. You're always busy, always working in the business, not on the business. And then we have the 3 high value positions, the ones that you should be thinking of. The owner that controls the brand, the relationships, and the intellectual property. The marketer that drives visibility and attention to the business. And the closer that closes deals, partnerships, and major opportunities. So now you might be thinking, but I'm the owner. So hold on, just because you own the business legally doesn't mean you are positioned as the owner in the value hierarchy, right? So in the case for Amy, she was legally like the owner of the agency, but she was positioned as the expert. Every decision bottleneck through her knowledge. She couldn't scale because she was the product. Everything had to go through her in order to keep moving forward. So here is the paradigm shift. If Amy, and yeah, and let me frame it this way. So Amy's old paradigm, after she realized that, she thought, if I'm not the smartest person in the room, why would clients want to work with me and pay me, right? In the new paradigm, she thinks my job isn't to be the smartest person. My job is to own the system that produces consistent results. So within 6 months, when Amy repositioned herself, she hit 1.2 million within 18 months, and that crossed her to go to 2 million later. So, and that was having the same team and the same market and completely different positioning, but it's really framing how she was looking at how she was working in the business. Okay, so here's my question to you now. Which position are you occupying right now? Are you the person that everyone comes to you for answers? And I have to say, I'm guilty of this 100%. I'm still trying to make it better for my own business. So no one is perfect. But when I learned this from my coach, I was like, I gotta make a shift as well. So Amy is one example. Mine is it's very similar in the fact that I was very working in the low positioning part of it. So one question for you is again, which position do you have right now? Are you the person who that people go to for answers? Are you the one doing the actual work? Or have you positioned yourself as a true owner of a system? And that's the shift. That's what you need to think differently on how you're working. So this brings me to another story that I love to tell stories because that's helpful to understand sometimes the concepts that I'm trying to bring to you. And it's another paradigm shift that separates successful business owners from everyone else. So I was studying the habits of ultra successful entrepreneurs, and I came across something that completely challenged everything I thought I knew about business success. And I've been doing so much training since I started like working 30 years ago. So this has been like very eye-opening. So I was reading about Richard Branson daily routine, and what it struck me was I have things that they were completely backward from what most business owners do. So here's a billionaire who spends his afternoons kite surfing, playing tennis, and he calls playtime. Like literally, he has time for himself. Meanwhile, every business owner I know is grinding 12 hours a day, right? So that's a big difference. So this contradiction bothered me for weeks because that was me, and it's still me because I'm still making changes, honestly. But I discovered that the key insight that separates ultra successful entrepreneurs and business owners from everyone else is that the difference is understanding that the time cannot equal money. Most entrepreneurs have this backwards, and I had it too. So they believe time is money, which everyone talks about time is money, but they try to fill every hour with productive activity. And here's the problem with that equation. Time is finite, where money is infinite. So think about it. You can always make more money every day, every hour, every minute, but you can't really make more time. So when you say time equals money, you're actually creating a limiting belief that caps your success. So here's the shift. Successful business owners use an infinite resource, which is money, to buy a finite resource that is time. So they invest in systems, people, technology, and processes that will buy back their time. They understand that speed is the most important thing you can focus on as an entrepreneur or business owner. So let me give you a practical example. Most business owners that I meet, like when I'm coaching or in any conference or whatever, I talk to them. I meet them and they tell me that they are doing their own bookkeeping to save money. They spend maybe 10 hours a month on QuickBooks, saving maybe about $500 in bookkeeping fees. But those same 10 hours could be spent on business development. It could be spent on strategic partnerships or marketing activities. And those could generate from 5,000 to 10,000 to 50,000 new revenue. So they're using their finite resource, which is time, to save an infinite resource that is money, and is completely backwards. The successful owner thinks, well, how can I invest money to buy back time so I can focus on the high value activities that I can do? That's what a successful business owner thinks. And this is why AI and automation aren't really threats to smart business owners. They are the force of multipliers, but only if you are positioned correctly. That's the tricky part. If you're positioned as the expert, AI might replace you. But if you're positioned as the owner, AI will really make you 10x more powerful. And that's the difference where you need to think differently here. Now, let me share something that might be kind of uncomfortable but necessary. Over the past 30 years, from my corporate experience to my entrepreneur ventures, I identify 5 biggest challenges that keep businesses stuck. Number one is clarity, and this one is huge. Most business owners can't clearly articulate what their business actually does. I will ask in networking events, my podcast, anything, what do you do? And I get a 5-minute rambling explanation that confuses everyone, including themselves. Without clarity, you cannot delegate effectively. Your team doesn't understand the mission. Your customers don't understand your value proposition. Everything becomes harder than it needs to be. That's why the first step as a business owner is having the clarity on what you do, how you do it, and then how you communicate it, not to the market, but also to your teams. The second challenge that I identify is structure. And here's what's interesting. Most business owners spend their entire careers having someone else create structure for them. So parents create a structure for them as kids, when they were kids. Schools create structures as students. Employers create structure as employees, right? So then suddenly they own a business and they need to create a structure for everyone else. And they've learned that skill. So because they haven't really never learned that skill, actually, they kind of like try to wing it and try to figure out what to do. So what's the result? Well, chaos, inconsistency, teams that don't know what to expect of them, right? So that's why first, focus on clarity. Second, focus on having a structure. And the third challenge is visibility. This one is fascinating. I've observed this pattern countless times when I go to business conferences and events. So the presenter one time, he asked in the room of about 500 business owners, who wants more visibility for your business? And every hand goes up. Great. Then he will say, who wants to do a live case study here in front of everyone? And maybe only 10 people will bring their hands up. So we say we want visibility, but when we have the opportunities for visibility and they appear for us, we get scared. We overthink it. We worry about how we will look. Meanwhile, our competitors are grabbing those opportunities and growing their business. And here's what's really happening. We have confused visibility with perfection. We think we need to have everything figured out before we can be visible. We wait for the perfect website, the perfect pitch, the perfect case study, the perfect moment when we won't look foolish. But visibility isn't about being perfect, actually. It's about being present. It's about showing up consistently, sharing your expertise, and building relationships with your market before, you desperately need them. So the business owners who struggle with visibility are usually the ones who only think about marketing when they need more sales. They do marketing, then they go quiet for a few months, then suddenly they start, posting frantically because they need more clients, they need more cash, right? That desperation shows in everything that you do within your marketing, and it repels potential clients, potential customers. So the successful ones, those successful business owners that treat visibility like a long-term investment, then they are really consistently sharing insights, participating in industry discussions, and also building their reputation even when business is good, because you need to continue doing that all the time. So when they do need more customers, then they already have an audience that knows them, that trusts them, that like them, and they are with them and following them, right? And here's the kicker. In today's market, visibility equals, well, let's say the other way. Invisibility will equal irrelevance. Your potential customers are making decisions based on who they see and hear from regularly. If you are not visible in your industry, you are not even in the consideration set when these customers are ready to buy, right? So that's why visibility is so important. The fourth challenge that businesses face is community. Running a business is lonely. You're making all the decisions, you're carrying all the weight, you feel that you need to have all the answers. And here is what makes it worse. As a business owner with employees, you can't just go and vent to your employees about cash flow problems or strategic concerns, right? You can't show doubt or uncertainty because you need your team to see a confident leader. Your employees aren't your peers. They are depending on you for direction and stability. Your family and friends, on the other hand, often don't understand the pressure that you have either. They will say things like, just hire someone to do whatever it needs to get done, or why don't you just take vacation? Without understanding that you just can't turn off the responsibility that comes with having people's livelihoods depending on your decisions because you have them on payroll, right? But here's the thing. Isolation kills businesses. When you're making decisions in a vacuum, you you miss the blind spots because you're in your head, right? You second guess yourself constantly because you're not sure what's right, what's wrong at this point. You reinvent the wheel that other successful businesses already created and they perfected it. So the most successful entrepreneurs and business owners understands this, they do, and they actively combat isolation. They are plugged into communities of other successful business owners and entrepreneurs, people who speak their language, who understand the unique challenges of being responsible for payroll, for growth, and a vision that we all have to grow our businesses, right? So these people, these business owners who are successful, they have mentors who have skill past what they currently are today, right? So they have advisors who can spot problems before they become disasters because they've been there before. And most importantly, they have peers who've been in similar situations and can offer real world solutions, not just theoretical advice, because these mentors not only been there before, they also work with many business owners that have seen it from other business owners. So there's so much value being part of a community and having that kind of relationship. And this is also not just, about networking events where you just give business cards. This is about having a trusted inner circle of people who understands what you are going through because they've been there themselves. Okay, so it's think big on that part, and it's gonna be make a big impact on how you run your business and see things different. The other challenge is influence, and most business owners never learn about how to be influential. Maybe they are great at their craft, what they do, but terrible at persuasion. They can't get past gatekeepers, they can't close big deals, they can't inspire their team to perform at higher levels. And influence is a skill that you can learn, but most people treat it as some mystical talent that you're born with. And here's the pattern I see. Business owners who stay stuck are trying to solve these challenges individually. They will take maybe a sales course for influence, a marketing course for visibility, a leadership course for structure. But these challenges, they are all interconnected. They are symptoms of the same root problem, which is positioning yourself in a low value position instead of a high value positions, right? When you position yourself as the owner, the marketer, the closer, these 5 challenges will start solving themselves. Okay? So let me tell you about 2 business owners I learned about recently, both in the same industry, both using the same AI tools, but getting completely different results. So let's talk about business owner number 1, Mike. He runs a consulting firm with 15 employees. When ChatGPT and other tools, like either other AI tools came up available in the market, he was excited. He started using AI to write proposals, create content, automate processes. But Mike, he was positioned as the expert in his business. He was the one that everyone came to for his business, and then what happens, he really didn't grow because he was still constrained within the system that he was doing the work. Remember the case of Amy? Now we have another business owner. Let's say call this one Lisa. And Lisa runs also a consulting firm, and she's kind of similar size, but Lisa understood the positioning differently. Um, Instead of using AI to make herself more efficient, she used AI to eliminate herself from the routine processes. So she used AI to train her team members to handle client questions she used to answer personally. She used AI to create systems and processes that could run without her oversight. She used AI to scale her expertise across the entire organization. And what do you think was the result? Mike businesses was stuck at the same revenue level while he became increasingly overwhelmed trying to keep up with everything, even though he was leveraging AI to optimize a little bit his processes, but still him doing all the work. When where Lisa, on the other hand, she had she saw her business grow because she was approaching it differently, right? And she actually ended up working fewer hours and felt less stressed because of how she organized it different, how she was running the business differently, and also leveraging AI as part of it. So here's the key insight here. AI doesn't really make bad positioning letters. Oh, I'm sorry, bad positioning better. It's kind of AI will amplify whatever you have in your business today. So if you have a bad position, it will amplify the bad positioning. It won't make it better. So you need to understand how to make it better in the first place. If you are positioned as a doer in your business, then AI will make you more efficient as a doer, which is totally true, but you're still doing everything yourself, so nothing has changed. If you are positioned as an owner, on the other hand, AI will become your force multiplier for building systems, teams, and processes, which that's where you want to get to that from what I'm trying to teach you today. So this is why understanding the six position framework isn't just really important, it's critical for survival and more than ever now in this AI driven world, right? So the businesses that will thrive over the next decade are the ones who those business owners who really understand how to position themselves correctly and using AI to amplify their positioning. But again, fix the positioning first if you're in the lower positioning part of the business. And the businesses that will struggle are the ones, that were smart, hardworking business owners, but then, again, they are using this low value positioning and yes, they will get more efficient, as I said, using AI, but in the wrong place. And they're going to be doing the wrong things. And that's not will make your business grow. And I I've been there. I'm still there in certain areas in my business. So I'm not saying this is like, I'm not judging. This is something that you need to really evaluate and think through where are you standing today and how you build your business and what are the things that you mean. You need to start thinking differently. So here's where we are. You now, after this, you understand the six position framework. You know the five challenges that will kill small business owners. You understand why your current positioning might be limiting your growth, but knowing and implementing are also two different things. Because there's a lot of things about business owners do. It's like they take trainings, but they don't implement. And again, if you don't implement what you learn, then you're not going anywhere either. So the business owners who successfully make this transition don't do it alone. They work with mentors and systems that they have already solved those problems. And here's what I want you to do right now. First, honestly assess which position you are currently occupying in your business. Think about, are you the expert that everyone comes to? Or are you the doer who maybe is involved in every decision? Or have you truly positioned yourself as the owner? Second, identify which of the 5 challenges is hitting your business the hardest right now. Is it clarity? Is it structure? Is it visibility, community, or maybe influence? And third, if you're serious about making this transition, if you're ready to stop being the bottleneck in your own business and start positioning yourself as a 7-figure business growth, then I want you to take the next step. The most successful business owners don't make this transition alone. They seek out mentors, advisors, communities of other entrepreneurs and business owners who already solved these problems. And here's the one thing. Making this shift requires more than just understanding the framework. It requires you to have consistent action, accountability, and often someone to help you see those blind spots. So if you're ready to stop being stuck in a low value positions and start building a business that runs without you being kind of the constraint, then I want to invite you to schedule a conversation with me. And if it's not me, find another mentor. So find someone who you like, who you resonate with, that can help you with that. It doesn't have to be me, but literally you need to talk to someone and work with someone that can get you out of where you're at today. I help business owners like you assess their current systems, the processes, the workflows to identify exactly where you can implement strategic changes, including AI solutions, to make your operations more efficient and more profitable while freeing your time and your focus on high value activities and really working as a business owner, not the doer. So this is not a sales pitch. This is a strategic conversation where we will look at your specific situation and I will help you identify the biggest opportunities for repositioning yourself from doer to owner. And again, if you're interested, that's great. Go to my website at marianadalto.com. You can click the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. You can go to my show notes if you're listening this on my podcast. So, and you can, that's how you can kind of reach me on my website or schedule a call with me if you need help. And if it's not me, find someone else to help you. You need to get out of your own head and working alone because you're gonna stay stuck. And I'm just telling you, this is how it works. And if if you think this episode was really helpful for you and maybe make you think differently, do me a favor, share it with another business owner who probably needs to hear this message and maybe, it's stuck and needs to think, think, think things differently. So the more we can help business owners understand the current positioning, the more successful businesses we will have in the world. And that's spread the word on anything that you learn to other people so they can be better at what they do. Next week, I'm gonna be tackling one of the biggest challenges we discussed today, which is clarity. Specifically, we will deep dive into a crystal clear value proposition that will make your business irresistible to your ideal clients. If you ever struggle to explain what you do in a way that gets your people excited, then maybe don't miss the next episode. Until then, remember, stop looking for magic bullets and start building magic systems. I'll see you next week. Thanks.